We're going to finish off looking at the command line interpreter for the microcode. So I've ran up the microcode.json file, and I've also got into the terminal, run task and edit microcode, and I've brought up the microcode editor. So we'll go through the rest of the commands here. So we're going to have the command we've seen previously, the command list. We've got the command view instruction, so we can edit the instruction as well, so we can change a particular value. So for example, we could edit the add command. So this reads edit the opcode add, the addressing mode is 0, and we're looking at the second instruction. Okay, so by the second instruction, the instructions actually run 0, 1, 2, so this will be the third one down. So we'll have to be careful with that. And then you can change it to whatever 8-digit number that you want to change it to. And then we've got the delete instruction, so you can delete the microcode for an instruction. So if we wanted to, we could delete the add opcode, and the addressing mode is 0, and we would be deleting the second line of the instruction. But remember, this would be the third one. And we can add an instruction. So if we wanted to, we can type in the add and then just put in a new instruction. And whenever we do that, it will actually generate 4 different addressing modes, and it will just populate them with the stop command. So we'll head back in here. And again, if you come down to the bottom, you can always put in the help, and it will bring this back up again. So we have the delete instruction as well, so we can delete the entire instruction. There's one for table, so it's going to export the control signal table, and it will export it as a text file and an XLSX file. So if I was to type in the table, it goes ahead and it exports those 2 tables. Now it'll take a few seconds because the table for the XLSX takes a few seconds to export. So you can see both of these tables here. So there's one in Excel and one as a text file. So if you open up the text file, now it'll be hard to see here because the file is actually quite wide, but it's a list of all of the 1s and 0s for all of our instructions. So this is the same as the table that we generated whenever we looked at the Excel spreadsheet. So it's the same as the original Excel spreadsheet. Now, if we want, we can't open up this from here, obviously, because it's an Excel spreadsheet, but you could get into the actual folder here, and we'll just quickly open it up because you can maybe see it a little bit better in the Excel spreadsheet. So desktop RTM16, and it's going to be inside the microcode, and it's the control signal table. So it takes a few seconds for this one to open up here. Now you can see a bit better now. So we've got all of the commands here, all the instructions, and then we've got all of the values for those instructions. Okay, so each of these that go high tells us that the memory address register has been set here, and the accumulator has been set here, the bus 1 has been set, and the instruction address register enable has been set. So this is the same table that we generated previously whenever we had our Excel spreadsheet. So it's a handy thing to keep. So let's put in help again. Now we've got a validate as well, so validate, it checks all instructions for formatting errors, okay? So in effect it validates the JSON file. And it says all microcode entries are valid, okay? And we've got a microcode instruction mode. So we've seen that before, where we can type in and we can have a look and see all of the micro steps. And we've got a micro steps dump, okay? So this is another file that we can generate. So micro steps space dump. And you can see it's generated this microsteps dumped.txt. And again, you can see this, it should be sitting here, microsteps dumps.txt. And this gives us a list of all of our instructions and then all of our micro instructions. So for example, the add 0, these are the individual micro instructions that we have for this. And the add 1, so 0 is the 0th addressing mode, address mode 1, 2 and 3. So we've got a list of everything here, which is actually quite useful. So we'll put in help again. So we've got the edit value here. So we've seen this in the previous video, we used this one here. We've got an inspect the hex value. So in this case here, it shows which control signals are active in a hex word. Okay, so we can put in inspect, and then you can check the hex value. So I think what we'll do first is we'll find an actual hex value to inspect. So we could look at view add 0. So we're looking at this hex value here. So we could put in inspect 009060000. And it tells us that this particular hex value is going to perform this action. So the ones that are actually set here are going to do instruction address register enabled, bus 1, memory address register set and accumulator set. So it's handy just to be able to see exactly what each of these micro instructions is actually doing physically within our machine. So we'll type in help, and we've got the save, and we've got the quit, and we've got the clear as well. So we can type in CLS and it just clears the page. So that's us finished looking at the command line interpreter for our microcode. It's a very useful tool if you decide to write your own instructions. So that's all for this video. Thank you for listening. I'll get you on the next video. Goodbye.